has led you to believe that? And just if you could confirm that he is now one of the 19 injured that you're counting?
He is one of the 11 deceased that we're counting.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Miles? You said, oh, sorry,
Correct.
Miles? Yes, so his injuries, we can't confirm those injuries, but we do have strong reason to believe that he has sustained some injuries. We're not exactly sure what those injuries are.
And he's one of the 19 that you're now counting?
Yes, yes.
Tegan Rasha with Global News. Have you been able to think of what the possible motive could be for this?
That's still part of the investigation that will be ongoing for quite some time. We haven't established a motive at this point in time, but it is definitely part of the investigation.
And Miles could obviously be anywhere. Is there concern he could try and flee to the United States?
We have made notification to Canadian Border Services Agency, so they are aware of his wanted status, and any identification he would provide would indicate on police record checks that there's a warrant for his arrest.
Brianne Foley, CTV Regina. You did say that some of the attacks were known and some of them were random. Would we classify Damien as one of the known ones at this point?
At this point in time, yes. Prior to us having located Damien's body, there were other persons who we believe were targeted in these attacks.
And do you know how many were targeted and how many were random at this point?
I can't say that for certain, no.
Perfect. And then is there aerial searches going on, and if so, where?
Yes, there are continuing aerial searches. We have multiple surveillance aircraft that are here in the province assisting us and conducting those searches in the areas that are designated as required by the investigative teams.
And still no word on the exact weapon that was used?
No.
Hi, Jade McMillan, Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Are you able to provide any information at this point in time on the people who have lost their lives? Anything about their ages, genders, where they've come from, anything like that?
The only information we know is that there were no children or infants attacked that we're aware of. The ages are older than that. There is a wide span of ages of these individuals. Both males and females were victims of the attack.
I think there was one report that suggested there was a 14-year-old boy. Are you saying that is not correct, or what is the age cutoff there?
I believe at the youngest age is a person who was born in 1999.
Thank you.
John Cairn, Sask Today. I'm just curious if you have any updated photos of Miles that you'd be able to share with the public. I know that there's been, on social media, there's been photos of Miles that have been shared out there, and just wondering if you're planning to do the same fairly soon.
The investigative team is working on that right now to determine if an updated photo would better reflect his current, what he looks like now. Keeping in mind, he may also have injuries as well.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, just to clarify something, were you saying that Damien was one of the people that was targeted by Miles? I just want to clarify a question that was answered earlier.
We can't say for sure how Damien came to be deceased, but he could potentially have been. We can't say that for certain.
Hi, Gareth Dillistone with CTV Regina. In your experience in decades of policing, I mean, here we're having a news conference on a Monday, a statutory holiday. We have the Regina Police Chief, the Assistant Commissioner for F Division. You're in the building, you're wearing your duty belts. How big of a crisis is this from a law enforcement point of view in your experience?
This is a significant event to the province of Saskatchewan. I don't think anyone would dispute that. We have a significant number of deceased individuals, and it is something that has been made our highest priority. From myself and Chief Bray right on through down to our frontline members, we are working extremely hard to apprehend Miles, and as well to process the crime scenes and make sure that the families have the information that they are seeking and need. So there are certainly a lot of different avenues to this situation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Were they brothers or cousins? Is there any relationship that you can disclose at this point?
We have been able to confirm that Damian Sanderson and Miles Sanderson are brothers.
Understood. The other thing, yesterday during the press conference, you weren't able to share details about their criminal record, if the pictures shared were mugshots. Miles has been unlawfully at large since May 27th. I guess, why wasn't that communicated earlier to the public, and why wasn't that communicated specifically yesterday during media availability when we were all here?
Right, so we're gathering more information. We have been able to confirm Miles' criminal record. He does have an extensive and lengthy criminal record. The information yesterday that was important for us to get out was the fact that he was a dangerous and violent offender. Having committed first-degree murder is indicative of that, obviously. So that was the priority for our information, to get that information out to the public.
But he was known to police?
Definitely known to police, yes.
Do you know if the two people who were going out yesterday on the killing spree, if they were attacking each other at the same time, or victims at the same time, or did they kind of separate and go their own ways?
We can't speak to that at this point in time. That's part of the investigation. The investigative team is putting together the chronology of how the events unfolded. Because as you can appreciate, as the calls came into our operations center, that doesn't necessarily mean how those victims were attacked in that order. So that's all part of the investigative process as they put that together.
Are you able to describe Damian's wounds? You just said that he was injured and found deceased.
At this point in time, I can't speak to that right now.
Okay, and you have said that this was a stabbing. It's being talked about as, you know, one of the biggest mass murders in Canada. It's different because it's a stabbing. Are you able to say if all 10 victims prior to Damian's death were stab wounds?
We believe the victims were stabbed, but that is still being confirmed at this point in time to make sure that we have confirmation of that, but that is our belief at this point in time, yes.
And given the fact that he was found on the First Nation, you believe Miles may be in that area. How wide is your search net right now? What are you telling people of the province and neighboring provinces?
So right now we can't, similar to what Chief Bray said, we can't eliminate anything. And so the information we had yesterday with the witness account that we believe they at that time, now we believe to be Miles, was in the city of Regina, was the last credible information we have. But we can't discount any of those investigative avenues. So we're making sure that we're keeping our investigative possibilities open, because we certainly don't want to be limited in our view of this.
One more question, please. You were anticipating information on the victims. At what time can we anticipate that today?
We're still waiting to get confirmation from the family members, so I don't have a specific time for you, but hopefully we can have that later today or tomorrow for you.
I guess, Chief Bray, as people are getting ready to send their kids to school tomorrow, as people are getting ready to go back to work tomorrow, what message you have for people in Regina as this manhunt continues and as we have very little information about where this guy might be, outside of knowing that he is violent and is frequently killed in the recent dates?
So I'll start by saying we have a large number of resources on this, and we will continue to have those resources working on this until we either locate and safely arrest Miles or prove that he is no longer in this community. And that's something that we're working on constantly with the RCMP. You know, obviously yesterday we had a very large event in the city with the Rider game, thousands of people in the city, and so we took steps to ensure that we had extra resources to enhance safety. I think a big part of it is communication and continuing to communicate with the public, and we will continue to do that as well. Any new developments that come, any changes that may happen over the next few hours between now and tomorrow. At the end of the day, as we've been talking about, and you brought up earlier, this is the most recent credible information we have, but it's also quite stale. And so we can't say for certain that he is still in the community, but we're operating as if he is. And so we will continue to exercise safety and diligence. We encourage people to be aware and report anything that seems suspicious or out of the ordinary. Again, you know, people understand, people know their surroundings better than anyone. And so oftentimes it's not as simple as the police coming in and doing searches in neighborhoods or in areas, but if people see something that's disturbed, we had a call the other night, a person called us to say, you know, I haven't used my garage in a long time, but I noticed that some stuff has been moved and I think someone's opened the door in the garage. That's a very pertinent piece of information. Turned out to be not related to this incident, but anything like that that people notice, they should report. We will investigate, and I think that's what's going to be successful in resolving this.
But for a nervous parent putting their kid on a bus tomorrow, how concerned should we be?
Well, I mean, I think at this point we have no information to lead us to believe that there is an imminent threat right now to anyone or any one person in this city, but we recognize we have not arrested this individual. The information is old, albeit the most recent we have, that he was in this community. And so I would encourage parents to exercise diligence and caution, making judgment statements on those types of things. We, you know, there's a fine line between making sure that we're diligent in reporting information and giving people all of the information they need, and giving, you know, what I would say a false sense of worry in terms of the situation and the danger that's present in the community. So as we continue to gather information, as we continue to investigate this, we'll continue to communicate with our community on that and hopefully be able to provide some positive information between now and tomorrow morning.
Can you give any detail on Miles's lengthy record, like what it's been convicted of?
Miles' record dates back quite a number of years, and it includes both property and persons crimes. So persons crimes are those committed against other individuals. Obviously, property crimes involved theft or damage to property.
So some violence?
Yes.
In the person's crimes?
Yes. I don't believe there's anything on his record for a previous homicide. That is what he is currently wanted for, is for first-degree murder, though.
Can you speak to the fact that he has been missing since May, has not been found? There's reports that he may have taken an ankle bracelet off. Is that alarming?
I can't speak to any of the measures, such as the ankle bracelet. There were warrants for his arrest, but I can tell you there are many individuals in this province who have warrants for arrest. So, you know, we do have a specialized team. We have the warrant enforcement suppression team. That is their focus. That was as a result of resources provided to the RCMP by the province of Saskatchewan last fall. So that team is up and running as of the last few months, and that is their focus. But given the number of people on warrant status in the province, you know, they have to risk manage files as they come into their acknowledgement. Yeah.
If there's an update tonight, how can we expect it?
It will depend on what the update is. If it's related to the emergency alert and updates to that, it will go out through the emergency alert system. Any media releases will go out in the normal distribution. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got my contact? Okay, good. Sure.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Bill. I hear you all the time.